As a film director, I've had the pleasure of working with so many dope people from around the world. And in between takes, some of the most insightful conversations take place. Raw, unfiltered, and full of gems. Film Homies is all about bringing those moments to you. Real talk with real filmmakers, sharing stories, game, and the love of the craft. Peace, everybody. Zachary Cunningham here. Another episode of Film Homies. We got my brother, Don Snipes, with me. You know what I'm saying?
What up, what up, what up?
Actor, producer, director, writer, script doctor, which he don't be getting credit for. You know. I'm just saying.
Be doctoring.
Yeah, script doctor. And I would say honestly one of my closest friends, you know what I'm saying, just in life, not even in the film industry, just in life. You know what I'm saying? So it only makes sense that, I bring you on, to chop it up. And actually it's funny. I was talking to Art the other day, Art Cartwright,
Yeah.
and he was like, he's like, he's like, man, Snipes, yo Denzel. Well, this one really the other day, but it was like a couple months ago. But he's like, Snipes, yo Denzel. Like, so whenever I come up with something new, of course, it come to you first.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I would say, just to start out, like, how, like, why work with me? For real. Because again, we didn't start out working together from a directing standpoint. I actually started out shooting something for Snipes. I was shooting a pilot. You know what I'm saying? But like, I guess talk a little bit through like our process and our journey together.
Man, I'll never forget the day that they kind of the light bulb popped off for me, and you were in the middle of shooting. We were shooting One Star, and things have been going smooth. And I feel like at the time you had a 7D.
No, it was the Sony
Sony,
the Sony A7S.
A7S. Sorry,
Yeah.
yes, A7S. And we in the middle of shooting, and I see you walk off, and I'm like, what? I'm just kind of paying attention to what's going on, and the camera just quit on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'll just say, in that moment, I I I got to see how much passion you have for what you were doing. You know what I'm
I
saying?
was
So
pissed.
you know what I'm saying? And so in the midst of it, I'm like, we good. I had just bought me a little
The 5D.
Canon. I got a 5D Mark III, and I'm like, yo, no, we good. Ain't nothing stopping. Let's keep it moving. And you like, no, you know what I'm saying? I'm and it was that day for me that was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this person has just as much passion as I do. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And that was it for me. I've learned in life, pay attention to the little things.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of people in this business, they gonna hit every shortcut that they can find.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They gonna hit the shortcuts. Some folks are just extremely lazy about, what they do, their process. And I didn't see that with you. You know what I'm saying? And another thing was, if we ran into a problem, you didn't have a problem saying, "Hey, I'm figuring it out right now," And for me, that was big, whether you notice or not, because there's nothing worse than being around somebody that's, not being honest about maybe they don't know something. And again, men and women, people do this all the time. I don't know if it's a pride thing. I don't know if it's a thing where they just want to look a certain way in front of people, but I honestly find it extremely genuine and authentic when a person can look you in the face and say, I don't know that, but let's figure it out. Let's find out together. that was it for me,
Yeah.
Later you had said, "Hey, I got a project,"
Mhm.
and I feel like we met at Panera,
We did, me, you,
and
and Ree.
yeah, and I'm talking about You Better Run.
Yeah.
Yeah, You
Wa
Better
was
Run.
Ree not at that? Was
He
he?
wasn't there
No,
with us that
okay.
time.
Okay,
You
yeah,
had showed me the idea, and I'm just like, oh no,
yeah.
this right up my alley.
Yeah.
Let's do something with this. I'm like, let's do it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then hey, we off from there, man. It's been a beautiful thing.
And it's crazy because when You Better Run, that was I remember first off, the character that
Hmm.
Snipes played didn't talk through the whole
Hmm.
shit. He didn't talk through the whole film. And it's funny because Paris Jones, who I'm actually interviewing next, he always say, he like, bro, when I saw that, I knew Snipes was the shit. Like
Yeah, yeah.
he's like, bro, he's like, cause Paris called me Cunningham, like Cunningham, man, like, bro, he didn't talk and killed that shit. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And that was fun, man. Even when you brought it up, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do this.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, yeah. It was the fact that you created a world, and I think that was one of the first times even, that we kind of collab with, just even some of my input on that piece. And I'm like, yo, let's go all out with this, and let's
yeah.
really have some fun with it. And man, that was cool.
Yeah, I remember one of the biggest notes that you gave me. I remember that day, bro, like it was yesterday actually when I gave you this when I we went through the script and you had said I remember the first thing you had said, you was like all the characters kind of have the same voice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Cuz it's like early in my
Mm,
screenwriting. I wasn't really that
mm-hmm.
experience at screenwriting at that point. He was like, all the characters got the same voice. He was like, I want to differentiate up every character's voice. But he was like, man, if we gonna have it be like this, if we gonna have it be like this interesting sort of world that we're building, then we need to come up with like a dialect. You know what I'm saying? So the way that all the characters spoke
Yeah.
was unique. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
think back to Greg's character. I forget what he say, but he say something. It's like it almost sound like some Shakespearean type shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
When he break that moment up. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I remember that was like a big thing. And honestly, I would say I think the reason I had so much trust in you and Ree specifically was because I had seen y'all work with actors not only with One Star,
Mm-hmm.
but also Detroit Actors Society would be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And seeing those sessions and seeing y'all do it. And I was like, I had I got to learn like, okay, this is what like really directing is in terms of working with actors. Cause I didn't know nothing about directing from that standpoint. I only knew how to I knew
Mm-hmm.
how to tell a whole story and like make good images and kind of visually do it, but I didn't really know how to work with actors. So like watching y'all really helped me to like, oh, this is what you supposed to like
Yeah.
this is
That was some
what you
fun
supposed to say.
times, man. Just getting in the lab. I actually just went and saw Brian in a show this past weekend.
Hmm.
He was in a show called Halftime with Don. Beautiful, beautiful performance. It was four different characters in the show, and B did his thing. And afterwards, myself, Amri, B, a lot of the students, because he now teaches
Hmm.
the Chubbuck technique. He's one of the certified coaches here in the Midwest, and it was just good, getting out and supporting them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me ask you this. Um, I think in the last couple years you've been working on a lot of projects and um I feel like you finally starting to get your just due. Like from in front of the camera. I think people kind of know your work behind the camera, but I feel like, you know, honestly, I would say like really post right on, to be honest. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say post move for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Because that movie seemed to like really stick with people. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
like, I think since you've been doing more films um, like The Landlord, recently 10 Toes Down, just shot 10 Toes Down 2. Um, like I feel like people are really starting to like r-
Yeah.
like I mean, I won't even say like respect it because everybody who know. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? But you
Yeah, no, I think that's a
bring
fair assessment. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you bring nuance. Like you like Scarface of acting. Like you know how they say Scarface is like your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. That's how
Mhm.
you are with acting. Like you like your favorite actor's favorite actor. Like uh, how do you go about bringing like such nuance to the characters, and especially with some of the scripts that might not have as much nuance in them? How do you find that kind of those little ticks within the characters?
um, I always tell actors there's I learned and I think this was from reading a book by Uta Hagen. Um, she has um, the power of acting, if I'm not mistaken, or respect for acting, one of the two. But nevertheless, I remember reading once that you have representation acting and presentation acting. And for me, representation acting never stuck. It was
Mhm,
always about what am I going to present to the audience?
mhm,
What am I going to bring to this? Um, and so for quite some time, I'll never forget when I first started doing this and doing a lot of stage plays.
mhm,
Back then, you would have people who would do a stage play one year and they literally would bring, a video recording of the show and be like, hey, look, I want the whole cast to see this and everybody do this.
mhm.
I would cringe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what's the point of hiring me if you want me to imitate what Doug and Man them did last year? You know what
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not doing it.
Mhm,
And sometimes I would catch flack for that, but I I would honestly say that I always just kind of go with my gut. When I get a script, I read it and I imagine a character oftentimes unlike something that anybody has ever seen. I don't want to look like anybody else. I
mhm,
don't want to look like that person or someone similar. I don't want to feel like it. And so I really go out of my way to just say, okay, what can I bring to this character that no one else has seen? And now I just kind of do it by default. It's not something that more or less is, constructed out of my imagination as so much as the process of being, whoever I imagine this character to be. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Like it's not as methodical as it used to be. Now it's more of, just kind of a natural thing. How does this person walk? How does this person stand? What's the posture of this person?
mhm,
Do they have anything specifically that they do with their eyes, their lips, the way that they breathe? All of those things matter to me.
mhm,
And I know sometimes when I'm directing, I I will admit I do look for that with actors because I run into a lot of scenarios where a lot of actors they sound good from just a audio standpoint. Like, wow, this person sounds great. Their voice is good, but that with memorizing the lines, it don't stop there for
it's
me.
not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, what else are you bringing to this other than you have a really wonderful voice?
Mhm,
And for me, it's all of the other things.
mhm,
Even right down to you know this last project, 10 Toes Down. Um, I literally went through the script and I had a specific color that I decided to wear when I was around certain characters.
mm,
Blue was one of the colors. Blue can represent sadness, being cold, melancholy, those kind of things. I wanted to kind of bring that from a thematic standpoint and just be like, hey, when you see my character around this, and he's gonna have on this color. You understand what I'm saying? And just kind of play with those things. But I honestly have a lot of fun creating in that kind of space.
yeah. Man, so like how do you balance between your input to the character and like a director's vision? Like, how do you find that sweet spot? Because again, every director is different.
Mhm.
You know me, I give like a lot of leeway. It's
Mhm,
just kind
mhm.
of like wherever you want to take it, as long as you don't change the intention, you good. But I know some you might have some directors who are very much like more hands on. Hey, I want you to say it like this. How do you find, your nuance within more, I guess, stringent, or contained, infrastructures?
Um, First and foremost, I always say that as an actor, it's our responsibility to do exactly what the director see, because I do believe that there's a chain of command on a film set that must be respected at all times. All
Facts.
right. I can't ever see myself getting to the point where I feel like, hey, I'm done. I've been doing this for a long time, so pretty much screw what you're talking about. I think that the more people that come to set and understand, you know, if we want a smooth process, we're going to have there's a pecking order,
Hmm.
just period. So I would say that I prioritize bringing forth the vision of the director first, then
Mm.
the art of collaboration starts for me, or that process. Hey, I'm thinking about A, B, and C, and I'm
Mm.
most of the time, I'm upfront. I'll let a director know, you know what, I've developed this character. Can I show you a few things? Do you mind?
Hmm.
And then just kind of go from there. Sometimes it's went over well. Sometimes it's been a bit challenging, but I will say that I'm not scared to ask. You
No, you're
know,
not.
um, but I do prioritize following the vision of the director,
Yeah.
and I will say that sometimes that can be a real hard thing to do internally because as actors sometimes and people that really care about their craft, a person don't really know how long you've been working on something. I remember when we were doing Right On,
Hmm.
you know when we were talking about it, I asked you for the cigarettes well in advance
Yeah, about a
because I
month,
wanted to
about a
walk
month.
around and I wanted to play and I didn't want to. I wanted to do everything with that cigarette in my hand.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Now, you know, it's funny because it's some people who know I don't smoke and they're like, "Oh, nah, you." But my thing is, what's real for me is going to be real for me, and I feel like that helps to make my decision process a lot stronger.
Hmm.
I've recently come to the realization that once you get into a certain zone with acting, um, your mind goes into a different state. I'll give you an example, right? The thinking state, like when we wake up as human beings, that's a beta state. When you get to a point where you kind of tapping into your unconscious mind or your subconscious mind, whichever one you want to call it, now that's the alpha state. I truly believe that, when you really get into what you're doing as an
Hmm.
actor, you go into an alpha state. Things have to just come out natural,
Hmm.
unconsciously and strong. You know what I'm saying? When you're in your head in that beta state, now you're thinking. And whenever you see an actor thinking, it don't look good on camera. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, wait, no, they in their head. Or you'll hear them say something and it's just like
Lacks
the
conviction.
cadence or the cadence, the conviction, the pauses, the all of that. They miss it. You get what I'm saying when they're thinking, as opposed to can you really tap into that alpha state and just be and do in that moment? And I'm kind of big on that.
Yeah, yeah. I guess kind of pivoting a bit to you as a director. A lot of folks don't know you were accomplished music video director. Directed a lot of music videos. Back in the day, Doughboys Cash Out, a lot of those early videos.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Directed stage plays with
Mm-hmm.
big names, and have co-directed
Yeah.
films,
Yeah.
around Detroit. And and recently directed James and Kiva film.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
Millers.
The Millers as well. Um, Talk to me about your experience with directing and how that contributes to um, how you approach the craft of acting.
Huh. I've been directing for a minute. Started off definitely with stage plays, and I firmly believe that stage is a place where all actors need to at least touch one time in their life. Stage teaches you how to use your body,
Hmm.
and versus being on film, and it's just a totally different kind of vibe. But from a directing standpoint, um, man, I credit everything to theater.
Hmm.
It was just it's a whole different beast. You don't get any do-overs
Yeah.
when that curtain raises up and it's showtime. I actually love the adrenaline rush of a live performance.
Hmm.
It's just nothing like it. From a directing standpoint, I would sit back sometimes, and watch the show, and from opening night to closing night, I would tweak. That's just how I direct. I'm gonna tweak what can I do to make this show better? What can I do to be more efficient with, what I'm saying, the pacing of the show, the timing,
Hmm.
and actors transitions from, coming on and off stage. I kind of obsessed over it a little bit. The music transitioning into doing music videos and writing treatments for artists. Um, that was fun. I mean, I've done stuff with K Deezy, Tamra Jewel. I've had the opportunity to work with so many talented people here in the city. Man, it's too many to name. But there is a huge difference between the two. And honestly, when you're directing, you just have so many things that you have to, have your eyes on.
Hmm.
But that has to come off when it's time to act. It just have to. And that's important because I will admit, earlier on it was kind of hard to pull that hat off. I'm in the middle of doing something. I'm just like, hey, nah, that's not how. Okay, I gotta be quiet. You know what I'm saying? But now, again, um, two things that is a huge plus in getting something in the can, and that's respect and trust. You
Hmm.
have to respect your collaborators when you on a film set. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And trust, respect and trust. And I think that, to me, when you walk into it or you enter into, that type of creating with other people, man, it becomes a beautiful process. Sometimes we have to allow people to work through things, and
Hmm.
yes, we might be there. And I tell anybody I work with, I'm like, hey, look, I'm here to be a resource to you.
Hmm.
But there is a fine line between me trying to be a resource to somebody and also giving them the space to create themselves. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just got to happen.
Yeah.
So when I'm acting, that directing hat, no, it's out the door.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of it. I mean, maybe in some situations, I might uh speak to somebody about, hey, maybe we can do things a little bit differently so that, we get a better shot, or maybe this adds to what we're doing. But
Hmm.
outside of that, no, that hack, I throw it off. You can't bring that to the table, because when you come with that type of attitude, to me, um, now you kind of not playing your role. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I don't never want to be that guy on set that's just like, oh, he a director too, so this why he keep. No, 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 no. I'm gonna let y'all figure it out. Have at it. You
Hmm.
give and what you need me to do.
Hmm.
And that's just my attitude.
Nah, for sure. For sure. For sure. I want to get into some of our work
Hmm.
together. Let me grab my iPeasy and sheesh. My Vimeo. Boom, 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 boom. It's one of my favorite scenes that really exists. We can watch it real quick. I'm gonna cut this shit out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a rough cut. It's the rough cut version of it.
Miss Johnson stopping by. Junior's got a fever.
Yeah, Jimmy and Fred are too. We gotta tie this thing up. Fred's got a guy that can get us print by the end of the month.
Fred's guy? Baby, you need to check your friend out. I keep telling you, that man ain't nothing but trouble.
Come on now, babe. He wants just as bad as we do to keep Larry's name alive. Now, these goddamn pigs need to pay for what they done did.
They do. And God will see to it.
How was your day today?
It's going well.
And my little man?
He's fine.
It's fine. Mm-hmm. You know what I was thinking?
Oh, what's that?
How about we go upstairs and do a little dancing for the rest of the folk here?
I know exactly what you want.
Yikes, that's a spicy scene right there, bro.
Yeah.
I need to go rewatch this.
That's one of my favorite scenes. Like I got
Man.
like, and the crazy thing is, the funny thing about shooting right on is that we couldn't, like, we shooting on film, so pretty much y'all getting like one or two takes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you can't drop lines. You can't mess up because it's like when you drop line, it's literally costing us money. Like if you dropping lines.
Bro, I remember we did something in that where we had to do some stuff kind of backwards and flip some
Yep, yep.
dialogue around.
Yeah.
And it was just like, holy goodness. But man, no, it was a
But
beautiful
what
thing,
what do
man.
you what do you because I feel like when we did this again, You Better Run was dope, but I feel like when we did Right On, particularly, especially with you and Deb, right? Like I feel like we knew that there was something special. And you remember we did the rehearsal here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was like we knew, like I remember I still got it, I still might have it in my phone. And I filmed y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just
Yeah.
it was like magical. Like what is it about your collaboration with Deb that is so special? Cause y'all just seem to just have like this really magnetic chemistry. And what a lot of people don't know, and I'll say this
Mm-hmm.
and I'll let you answer.
Mm-hmm.
What a lot of people don't know is like Don and Deb have like the most like insightful conversations in between takes. Like they'll just be talking about like, I don't know,
Yeah,
hunger in
all kind of
Africa.
stuff. Yeah.
Some stuff like but yeah, talk a little bit about your collaboration with Deb and kind of like what Right On did, because Right On I feel like something clicked with y'all and it was just like y'all both knew like, okay,
Yeah.
what y'all have together on screen is kind of different.
Man, one, again, shout out to Debbie Spencer. Just I've known her for a while. Believe it or not, I actually met her sister first, Gwen, um, doing a stage play. And I felt like Gwen was um, singing or something. I didn't know it was a whole gang of them that, very, very talented because Debbie can blow too, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And again, just the relationship that we have outside of film, watching her, do her thing in a lot of different stage shows and just kind of, being a part of her journey and supporting, projects that she's done has always been fun. So, when we finally got the opportunity to kind of click, get together, it was like, all right, cool, let's do this. And from my standpoint, I feel as though there's just a mutual respect and admiration for each other's work, and you can feel that. You know what I'm saying
Mhm.
when we get together. Even when I just watch this, you know what I'm saying. I'm like, man, that was good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to go watch. I want to go watch that
Yeah.
again. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I think just my respect for how she handles and has been fighting and just being resilient in this business. Listen, for anybody that's been in this business, you're gonna take some bumps and bruises. You're gonna make some good choices, some bad choices, but this is one of those type of businesses where once if you're down, you got to find a way to pick yourself back up,
Mhm.
especially if you're an actor or just a talented creative, period. You're
Mhm.
going to fall under the watchful eye of scrutiny in some
Mhm.
kind of way. You know what I'm saying? And personally, I kind of, I cling to the people that don't give up.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Let me add another nuance to that. I cling to the people that not only don't give up, but continue to search and find a way to get better.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
got some people that don't give up, but they don't give a crap about getting better.
Mhm.
I want to
Yeah.
be around people that don't give up, but fight and find a way to get better.
Mhm.
Them the folk I want to surround myself with, and Debbie's definitely one of those people. So,
Yeah. I remember I think we were doing like the post interviews to Little Church and you were interviewing um Debbie, and you remember I think we interviewed Debbie, Marcus, and E
hmm
for the post interviews for Little Church when we were putting those out. And I remember Debbie had said she was like, I like as an actor, I want to be needed. Like you need bread,
hmm
like you know,
hmm
like she kind of is like formless to
hmm
a degree. And I remember I noticed that when we had the Little Church audition, because you remember the funny thing about Little Church is crazy is that we had actually cast somebody else for Debbie's role, but then they backed out.
hmm
And so, me, I panic. I'm like full blown panic mode at that point because the person who auditioned, they
killed
obliterated
it.
that shit.
Yeah,
You
they
know what I'm
killed
saying?
it.
Like they obliterated that shit, but they backed out for personal reasons, whatever, whatever. And so I'm like, bro, who are we gonna get? Who are we gonna get? And Don, like, he calm, stoic as hell. I'm up here panicking and shit. And he like, let me put some thought to it. And then he like, meet me at Uncle PJ crib. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and I met Debbie for the first time. And it's interesting because I remember for the Little Church audition, we did something unique in that we wrote, well, I don't know if it's really unique, but it was unique to me at the time.
hmm
We wrote sides specifically for the audition that weren't in the story, but
hmm
based on the character. And I remember Debbie's, I think the scene was Michael, young Michael, the little kid in Little Church was like eating some cereal or something like that.
hmm
And it's like the stepmom and she was sort of like being mean to him or like, but it was like passive aggressive kind of mean or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And I remember the first take, she was it was stage like when
Yeah.
she did it. right? And I remember when I first saw it, I was like, man, damn, I don't know if Don got the right person, man, whatever, whatever. And then he like, no, all right, like, all right, just give her some notes, like. So I gave her some notes, and I remember the second take, it was like spot on. I'm like, oh shit, okay, because up until that point,
Mm-hmm.
I had only seen, I had seen actors because we had a couple auditions where we had somebody do like 25 takes and they just kept doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just being
That's that
honest.
muscle memory.
Like
Absolutely.
it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
tough.
yeah.
I'm not, no disrespect, but that
Yeah.
it literally had like where they started to get frustrated with us because they couldn't
Yeah.
get into that second gear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Debbie, she's just able to just be like water. Like she can just like
Mm-hmm.
she just flows, and she's just like Debbie is
And she
like,
brings a lot of emotion
yeah,
to her character, and you can feel it.
yeah,
And not just the emotion of, hey, I'm crying, or some of the things that are sad, but even in watching that clip, like, I felt like I was watching a couple that love each other.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And Debbie and I, we've never had any intimate scenes like
yeah,
that. But again, I just enjoy working with her.
yeah.
Definitely, just
S-
yeah, it's been fun.
So we can't talk about Debbie without talking about Mood.
Hmm.
Uh, Talk to me about your experience with Debbie working on Mood. Mood was a very stressful shoot. I think on everybody because pretty much had to shoot it exclusively at night. Height of COVID, 5 days. You know, like everybody's tired. You know what I'm saying? No money.
Listen, man, I've heard this before, and there's a saying: you really find out, who a person is
Yeah,
when they hungry, have no energy, or no money.
yeah,
Those three things.
yeah,
Okay. When you shooting long days under a very, very, very short amount of time,
yeah,
you're hungry, you have low energy, and we hadn't got paid yet. You get
yeah.
what I'm saying? But I say all that to say that during that time, again, you see what a person is made out of, and
Mhm.
we were fortunate to be in the middle of a pandemic.
Middle of a pandemic. Everybody had time.
You get what I'm saying? Well, here's the deal though. I think that it's a beautiful thing, or yes, we had time, but to me, what stands out even more, a lot of people were going through it during the pandemic. The pandemic wasn't a beautiful time for people.
Yeah.
What was beautiful to me was the fact that amidst the pandemic and all the things that were going on, man, when you really think about it, the pandemic, you know, it tore up families, relationships.
Mhm.
People lost loved ones,
Mhm.
family members.
Yeah.
It was a lot going on, and actually during that time, she was experiencing some things, and so was
Yeah.
I, from a personal standpoint.
Mhm.
Um,
And I used that shit.
yeah, man,
I
listen,
used that shit. I
the
used
it
it.
it was it was rough. You know what I'm saying? That pandemic, man, it was rough at the time, man. I was in a long-term relationship, and I just couldn't get shit together.
Yeah.
That's just the end of it, and was a little butthurt. You know what I'm saying about
Yeah.
it. And at that time, same with her. She was. I
Mhm.
feel like our first day of shooting, she might have just went through a breakup,
Mhm.
and it was rough. But again, what was beautiful was for all the creatives that were there to say, hey, no, let's work. Let's
Mhm.
find a way to create in this moment. Because a
Mhm.
lot of people just weren't working during that time. And there was a lot going on, we dealing with the mask situation, and, you know, person breathed the wrong way, everybody,
Mhm.
doing one of these, it was just a lot, and that within itself can take a toll on you mentally.
Mhm.
But I say all that to say, despite of all of that, to get the opportunity to create and to create on our own terms during that time, that to me is what stood out to me about Mood, and just not only working with Debbie, but everybody that was there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's always going to be a memorable moment for me, because it's just like, hey, here's a time where the world was really going through some stuff, and we decided to, come together and cooperate in a way to make some magic.
Mhm.
That's what stood out to me, and this
Yeah.
is always going to be one of my fondest memories. So
Yeah. Nah, man. It was definitely an interesting time. I think Harper was one. He was on set every day.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
it was crazy. It was crazy. And that's the thing, like, so a lot of people don't know, pretty much after day one, like, I pretty much didn't use anything in the original film from day one. Like, I was just pissed. Like, I ain't really like it. Of course, it ended up making some of them to the director's cut. But so basically, what happened is on day two, myself, Chuck, Don, Debbie had to come in early. But mind you,
Play some
our
catch
call
up.
time, our call time was not till like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
that next day, but we had to come in early to film all the daytime stuff because we shot exclusively at night. So it was one of those things to where we came in at, like, I think like 9 in the morning. We shot for a couple hours, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like everybody tries to go to sleep after, but of course it's hard to sleep during the day because your body clock hasn't necessarily
Adjusted.
switched
Yeah.
over. So
Yeah.
by the time it's like 6, it's like, we tired, you know what I'm saying? So it's funny, if you go look at the scene, where it's two scenes where you can clearly tell Don is like barely up. It's the shot when he's walking down the steps, the slow motion one, when
Mm-hmm.
Debbie kind of looks and you got the suit on
Mm-hmm.
and you walking down the steps. I remember you had just woke up. You were like taking a nap, and I'm like, "Hey, Snipes, we gotta get this shot." He's walking down the steps. He's like like wobbling, but we shooting in slow motion, so you can't really tell.
It's
You know what I'm
wild.
saying? And then the scene where they first met each other, um, like what you drinking on scene, and oh, so
Mm-hmm.
you're a doctor, all that, or you a therapist, whatever, whatever. That whole scene was, um both of y'all were like dead tired that scene,
Man.
because that was that day. That was day two. That scene is from day two, and y'all were both like dead tired. But I remember day one and day two were rough, but I remember day three, something clicked. It was the tabletop scene
Mm-hmm.
where y'all are at the table, and the love or peace scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I remember, it was the day where, I feel like either you or Debbie asked me. I think one of y'all pulled me to the side. I don't know if it was you or Debbie. Pulled me to the side like, hey, when we getting into it, can you kind of clear the set?
Mm-hmm.
Because like people kind of banter in and it's kind of distracting us a little bit, whatever, whatever. And I think we were shooting with two cameras by that point, because we
Mm-hmm.
didn't initially start shooting with two cameras. But I remember that scene, we ran it and y'all were just like
Yeah.
hitting up. It was just flowing. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I remember Debbie, after that, she was like, Zach, we got to keep doing that. We got to keep doing that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like
Yeah.
from there, we kind of hit our stride. It was still tough because the thing is, outside of that second day, where we had to be there all day, the days where we never really went over like 12 hours, but it's because our time, like, we had to,
The body.
the body though, like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
like, we just weren't like, if you shoot for 5 days and you shoot at night, like, your body isn't gonna adjust to shooting at night until the last day.
Man, listen.
Yes.
That COVID was something else. Not only that, outside of all of that, mask was causing my face to break
Oh
out. And
yeah,
I'm like,
Don had
Zach,
this
can you
big
please
pimple.
shoot just on don't shoot this side.
And
It
I'm
was,
like, bro,
bro,
come on.
bro, it was the worst, man. I'm like,
And I'm being very
j- j-
insensitive at the time. Like, bro, stop being a fucking diva, man.
listen.
And it was a big ass
uh,
pimple. I ain't gonna lie. It was like,
One, I had about four. It
yeah,
was like, what is going on? It was that was just a time, man.
yeah,
But again, nonetheless, we did it. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
And I think that that alone speaks volumes, man. It was just like, yo, we're gonna keep working. And
Hmm.
I think that there was a moment when we had it was actually in between what, maybe a setup or something. It didn't feel like we were actually um it felt so real that it didn't even feel like we were working. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like here it is, two people, they're meeting for the first time and they kind of come from two different, places in their life in the world. And I feel like while you guys were setting up, we just kept talking, you know
Yep.
what I'm saying, to each other. And I
Yeah.
don't even remember what Debbie and I were talking about at the time, but it just felt really organic and it felt natural. And it was just like, okay, this is fun. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Let's keep it up. So,
Yeah. No, it definitely worked out. And you don't know how many people around here have told me like, man, I like that's my favorite movie from around
yeah.
here. Like that's one of my favorite movies. Like people really rock with that movie. I remember there was a filmmaker, a female filmmaker friend of mine. She saw it and she was like, Zach, when I saw Debbie, it made me feel beautiful
Mm-hmm.
when she
Mm-hmm.
saw it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Cause I remember I remember somebody told me the other day, they were like, bro, it's like Debbie looked like she like floating across the screen
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in that movie. And that's a testament to Kel, you know what I'm saying? And like what she did with y'all wardrobe. Cause I know that like that was like very like we were very intentional
Very.
with what y'all was wearing.
I think you've
And
been pretty intentional though with our wardrobe. Period.
yeah,
Though
yeah. Well, that's my I
I ain't gonna lie. I
like
think
people.
you like getting into that, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you kind of really like getting in that bag,
But
like
no, I will say specifically that credit for You Better Run, Right On, and Move goes to Kelly Cunningham,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Harper's mom, because she like was invaluable because Kel matched the intensity in terms of like
Mm-hmm.
the the
Mm-hmm.
the attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? In terms of like, hey, this is what, and honestly, like I was able to take that into heaven. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like from a aesthetic standpoint, because it matters. It matters. It helps create a world. Like and I learned that. I learned a lot from her when it came to that. So
yeah.
um, but yeah, man. It was just a great time. I won't say a great time, but with Move, but it definitely was a time where I felt like we made something that was like very singular, and
Mm-hmm.
very unique,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
And I just want to add to you. I think you were correct. It was a great time, and I'm gonna say it from this perspective.
Mhm.
I think oftentimes, throughout our human experience, maybe we don't look at some of the moments that stretch us or in those moments that we grow. They don't
Mhm.
feel good. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So since they don't feel good, maybe subconsciously we kind of equate it to that, but it was a great time, bro. I think you were correct. Like
Yeah.
because that was a moment for growth. It
Yeah.
was a moment of collaboration with a certain group of people. You know, I once heard, when musicians get together, you know, and they make music, if you remove one person, you're gonna come up with something different.
Yeah.
Might sound similar, but it's gonna be different.
Well, you
And
said that in Move.
wow. So yeah. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like it's true. You get
yeah,
what I'm
for
saying?
sure,
Like you
for sure.
take somebody away and you gonna create
Yeah,
some
it's a totally different thing. Yeah,
and look what we created. And even in those moments where it was difficult, even in those moments that might have been challenging, it was a moment for growth. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Because
nah,
now you take that and you like, what's next? You know what I'm
hmm
saying? Like what can I do? You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And I think that feels good.
nah, for sure, for sure, for sure, man.
Afterwards, it don't feel good in the moment, but afterwards, you
Yeah,
have a moment. You like, you know what?
yeah.
I, that feels good.
No, it was empowering for sure. I mean, it's also pre Tubi boom, so it wasn't like a ton of independent films getting made at that point too. You know, now it's films getting made every weekend. You know, I always say, mood is probably to blame for a lot of the 5 and 6 day schedules because I told Paris that we shot Mood in 5 days and he just took it and ran with it.
Lord,
You know what I'm
Lord,
saying? Not
oh
look,
Lord.
but yeah. So I always joke with him like, "You to blame for all these short ass schedules because you told everybody that we did it." You know what I'm saying?
These 7-day schedules, boy.
Exactly. But again, we also took like 6 months to prep. So that's why I always say like the devil is in the details. You got to prepare. You know what I'm saying? You can't shoot a film like Mood and have it come out as good as it came out in 5 days without being very prepared. You just
Prepared,
can't.
intentional,
Exactly.
and really, giving something your all.
Yeah,
Period.
and writing a script that can be shot in 5 days. You know what I'm saying? One
One
location, two
location.
characters, 5 characters total. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like so, it definitely worked out. Um, I know we've been talking for a while, but we can't not talk about heaven.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Which to me, this is my personal opinion. People might disagree. I think heaven is by far your best performance to date.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal opinion. You might even disagree. But um yeah, man, talk about your approach going into that and just your experience working on heaven and just delivering such a dynamic, nuanced, intense performance.
Man, I always tell people heaven was just fun,
Yeah.
just period. And it was fun because if I could describe it, it's like you have those moments in life where, and I'm gonna just use the example of working out. You have those moments where you first start working out and you're only able to do like 10 push-ups. But when you get to a point where you can do 40, 50 push-ups straight on any given day, there's just a certain feeling that come with that. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? And going into heaven, it was that feeling.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, the people we got here, we didn't put the reps in.
Mhm.
So what's
Yeah.
up? You
Yeah.
get what I'm
The
saying?
system is the formula is there. Yeah.
Yes. And so going into it, um that that energy that was just flowing, it just felt good. It was fun being able to work with, the artists that were part of the project. Um, Reed Franklin, Zakia, BG. She got a rapper name. Zakia got a rapper name.
Exactly. She don't.
What I don't even know. What do BG stand for? Zakia. You gonna have to. Is that her last name?
Yeah, I feel like it's a hyphenated name. I know one of them is Gray. I know
I
that
got
she
you.
is
Okay.
Gray.
Well,
Yeah.
Zakia, you got a rapper name. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Lulu, Doll,
Yeah.
AG,
AG.
Garrison,
Yeah. Amir
Amir,
Garrison.
yeah,
TT Tanja Brown.
TT,
Kyle Greenlaw.
Kyle.
We can't Rico, Bruce Wade.
Oh man, Rico.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
We had Donnell Clayton.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. Everybody brought their
and
A
then
game.
just some newcomers and supporting folk, Quentin Lanier,
Mm-hmm.
Barbara K. Jones, my aunt. Like I just man, Aiden, Evan, that felt like, hey, look, we didn't put the reps in. Let's
Mm-hmm.
work. You know what I'm saying? Pam, who played the mom.
Yeah.
So, but to answer the question, going into heaven, I had like 5 films
Mm-hmm.
that I was in the midst of doing back to back to back. In
Mm-hmm.
a 4 month period, I think I might have set down 10 or 11 days max.
Mm.
Okay. By the time I get to heaven, I'm relieved.
Yeah.
Okay, because um the thing about acting, you can have a lot of different energy on you. You working with a lot of different people, a lot of different energy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was something about heaven. It was personal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was just personal. And what I mean by that is it's one thing to go over to somebody else's house and help build or clean up, but it's another thing when you go to your own.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I felt about heaven. It was
Mm-hmm.
like, now I'm coming home, so go show up,
Yeah.
show out. You know what I'm saying? And just do the best that I can do. And I look forward to it. And speaking of wardrobe, you were very intentional with, me's wardrobe. Um, that definitely played a part into it because, just tapping into that character, that type of stuff matters. You were
Yeah.
very, very specific about all the little nuances of his look, everything to, his shirt being tucked in, wearing a belt, all of that, you know what I'm saying? Everything was ironed, crisp, you know, man, it was one of those things where I just really look forward to tapping into that. And you had
Mm-hmm.
already prepped me by saying, hey, there's a few different things that, is going to be going on with this character. And I really need you to kind of tap into what's going on in that moment for that character. Like that's what you wanted to bring alive.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to say one of the biggest challenges, it was we shot the ending on the first day, and it was just like that to me honestly was just like you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, wait a minute. All right, cool. Let's make this happen but it worked out.
And not
It really, really
I
worked out.
always say for us, it's particularly for me and Charles Kennedy Jr. DP, um, shooting that scene, I feel like we figured out the way the rest of the movie was gonna look and feel.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting that scene.
Mm-hmm.
If we wouldn't have shot that scene the first day, I feel like that whole first day we were still trying to figure it out. But when we shot that scene, we like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, we got something. Like, if this is like if this is the ending, yeah.
Yeah. And look, and from an acting standpoint, maybe sometimes we want to like warm up, right? And
Mm-hmm.
just get a little feel of that, who am I? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And because we were doing it that way, I don't necessarily want to say that I ever have I've been doing this for a moment, so I don't get nervous nearly as much as maybe when I first started. Like to the point now, I don't even really think I get nervous at all. But I do feel a certain angst in my body, and I take that energy and I try to use it. But that scene to me was very, very important. Like it was super important. You know what I'm saying? It was like
Yeah, it's
If I don't
everything.
get nothing right, I need to get this right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I literally was like, okay, cool. Let me just utilize that energy,
Mm-hmm.
and go for it. But again, it was heaven for me was one of those things where it was just like, yo, I'm going home. So, again, when you go to your own house, you got to show up, and,
Yeah.
and you need to show up in a way that you mean it, and you need to show up in a way that represent like, yo, this is your home. And that's kind of how I felt about heaven, like, and the process and the people that was involved. Grover McCants, again, we just had so much talent, you know what I'm saying, that was there, that was just like, how could I not
Yeah.
show up, so.
How was it? How was it working with a script that was written in first person?
uh
Mm.
it was so funny when you sent it to me the first time. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this is a rough draft and you gonna change this. I'm like, I'm like, and and when I finished it,
Yeah, it's like your script. It
yeah,
almost reads like
like when I
like a
when I,
diary.
when I finished it, I was just like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
nah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was one of those things where I feel like as a writer, you can always tell sometimes when, like at what stage of the journey a lot of writers are in,
Mm-hmm.
because writers sometimes have a tendency to over explain things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just part of the business. It's like something goes off in their head sometime where they feel like, I need to add this extra dialogue or exposition, because if I don't, someone won't understand what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah.
And it's the exact opposite. Like a movie is all about showing
Yeah.
somebody. You know what I'm saying? And so after I read it, I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." You know what I'm saying? It was like, it doesn't matter what his name. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, this we're telling a story. And again, I guess I appreciated the way that you decided to tell that story. That's what was
Yeah.
dope about it, man. I think that's one, honestly, if I can name anything that stands out to me when it comes to working with you, is um you're not afraid to take those risks. And that to me is big, because sometimes I feel like, making movies is, especially from an independent standpoint, dudes be doing this shit like people make music. Like, I feel like when I was doing music videos, you would have artists I would have artists that I meet sometime, and they would be like, yo, I'm going to make this type of song because everybody's going to like it,
Mm.
as opposed to, I'm going to make a song that I like.
Mm-hmm.
That's big for me. And I really feel like you kind of embody that. Like, in your process, you're like, yo, I want to make something that I like.
Yeah. For sure.
And when you get on that type of time, I'm always about that life. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because I am the same way. It's like, what's the point of making art if it's not going to be something that's beautiful and personal to you? Like, what's the
Yeah.
point? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I just make the movies I want to watch.
yeah, I
Pretty
mean, you know
much.
what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and so that's big for me. And I
Yeah.
think that's why I get so stoked about it. Is like, yo, like, I get fired up when I'm around energy that kind of, embodies just being authentic. And that's just how it is. So
Yeah. Yeah. What was your what's your favorite scene in heaven, like, that you can think of? Well, I would say, what was your favorite scene to shoot, and then what was your favorite scene when you actually watched the film?
um man, it was a few different scenes that I enjoyed. Maybe one that stands out is the scene where Henri's character and I kind of we had a critical moment. I'll just
Mhm.
say that. We had a critical moment in our journey of the story, and there's a decision that has to be made. Um, I enjoyed shooting that. It was fun. It was late that day, and Man, it was a true Michigan day. It was a little chilly out, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It was a lot going on, but I enjoyed that day. We had a lot of moments in heaven that just were really man, they really kind of touched the heart, if I could say, in a certain kind of way. So
Mhm.
I enjoy shooting scenes, and especially with the nurse, with Lulu. You know, having those quiet moments with Lulu, a lot of those scenes kind of stand out to me. They were fun,
Mhm.
because you got to see a different side of, my character, um, from his perspective, and I just enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Those stand out to me, but in terms of, something that we shot, definitely, when we were at the house and we got the scene with dad, and just even that day, it was fun. I had fun that day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, that it's funny. I think my favorite scene, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is two scenes. It's two scenes with you and Ree, because
Mm-hmm.
you and Ree's scenes are like my favorite scenes in the movie. It's the scene where he stops by the crib and drops off a a gift for you.
Mm-hmm.
That scene, because I just feel like that scene is so. I think the scene I love that scene so much because I see so much of you and Henri in that scene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I just see y'all. Like, and so to me, it almost feels like, because I know y'all personally,
Mm-hmm.
and I know how much of how much of y'all you put into that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I love that scene. I love that when he shows you the gift and how you just like glad, like it just feel like it just feel like one of them times where you reconnect with your homie after like 15 years. Like it felt just so authentic.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
scene is super ill. And then the scene where you're asking him for help. I love that scene. I love
I
that
felt that
scene.
scene too.
Yeah, I love it, bro. Like just the way, like
Yeah.
y'all both like, cause it's a stillness that y'all both have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like y'all just performed it. Y'all performed it perfectly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
funny even when you were just saying that, I literally can visualize eyes
Yeah,
when I ask him that question, and he just looks puzzled, like,
yeah,
what?
yeah,
Because in that moment, he realizes that I haven't been honest with him.
yeah.
And in real life, to sit down in front of somebody that you have history with,
Mhm.
and then you lose contact, but then you guys reconnect, and there's still that same amount of love, you know what I'm saying, for that person, that could be a lot in that
Yeah.
moment.
Nah, that it's actually interesting that you mentioned that right now, because if you think about it, in a lot of ways, me of course is a tragic character. He's like the quintessential tragic
Mhm.
character. But Twin is too though.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because it almost he got history with this dude. He loves Twin loves me like as his brother, but he almost loves the idea of who me used to be.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because he doesn't know the person who you are today. You know
Correct.
what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
doesn't know that person.
At
You know what I'm
all.
saying? And so his arc, the reason why I say his arc is so tragic is because when he finally meets, it's like, oh, it's like gut wrenching. And then replayed it so well.
Bro.
He played it so well, like,
Bro,
you know
yes.
what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. As you were just saying that, I'm going back to that moment, and he's faced with a decision too, and it's
Yeah,
just like, but you're absolutely right. Like he's feeling this kind of way because it's based on this idea of
Mhm.
someone who he used to know,
Mhm.
not the person that he
Not the person,
knows.
and that's why me says you don't know me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's heavy. It's heavy, but no, man. I think the me and Twin arc, that character arc between those two, is like
Hmm.
one of my favorite arcs I've written. I think
Yeah.
it's a really solid arc. Um, Similar to like I like the Lake and Jasmine arc and Little Feet and well what's come next, but I like that arc too. But
Hmm.
like I really love the Twin and yeah. But in any case, man, yeah, we done talked about everything. Um Let me ask you this and I'll let you go. Name me, name me, not yourself included, your top five favorite actors, Detroit. They could be staged. It could be staged. It could be, um, movies, whatever. Name me your top five. Your
Uh,
favorite top five favorite. I'm not saying these aren't the top five best. So I am gonna clip this regardless of whatever happens.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but it's his favorite. So it doesn't have to be. I don't. We don't care about your Tubi numbers or who's the most followed. We don't care about your followers. We care about skill. Like
um,
who would you like if you could build a cast of people who you would want to work with in a movie, in a drama, let's say a drama with suspense elements. Who would you what are those five actors who would be your top ones to pick to call first? Blazy, we need to grab
this
him.
a tough question, and I'm gonna tell you why it's a tough question. I consider it a privilege to get the opportunity to act,
Mm-hmm.
and there are gonna be certain roles that are for me and some that are not,
Mm-hmm.
and as for as long as I've been in this business, I've seen people that maybe they have a certain look, and at that moment they feel the need of the role. And then you have some actors that may have a certain skill set
Mm-hmm.
and they embody what needs to be done. Um, but in all honesty, man, I've been doing this so long. Um, I've had the opportunity, man, to be around so many talented people. You know what I'm saying? And not no fluff.
You still gotta pick five.
I still got to pick five.
Detroit. Just Detroit, not anybody who like came in from outside, but like Detroit actors.
Um, well, I definitely I like
No particular order either.
no particular order. I'm gonna just go off what's on my head right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I got more than five, but
Nope.
I
That's
I
fine.
I like I like TT.
TT, Tanja Brown.
Yeah,
Love the
I've
TT.
watched her for a minute, and
T- TT called me earlier today asking about 1 star. I still think I got 1 star stuff on the hard drive.
she wanted to see some of
Yeah,
it.
she want to see the
That
commercial.
oh wow,
But I told her to hit you up because I was like,
yeah,
Snipes probably got it on
I might
the
somewhere.
laptop. I don't know
Yeah,
if that
yeah, on a
laptop
hard
still.
drive somewhere. But
Yeah, go ahead. But okay, TT, Tanja Brown.
TT, I like Deborah Chenault,
Okay, Deb Green.
Green.
Yep. Auntie Deb.
Um, I like I enjoy seeing my homie Henri
Yep,
Franklin.
Ree, of course.
Um,
Ree low key might be the best low key, but that's just a low key. That's some low key shit though.
um, I definitely like Debbie.
Debbie Spencer.
Yeah, yeah.
That's 4.
Uh and who else? I want to say who else just came to my mind? Yikes. Uh I like Kyle. I like Kyle Greenlaw.
Kyle Greenlaw.
I like Kyle Greenlaw.
Okay, so Tanja Brown,
Yeah.
Deborah Chenault Green,
Yeah.
Henri Franklin,
Yeah.
Deborah Spencer,
Yeah.
Kyle Greenlaw.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
the only person I haven't worked with on that list is Deborah Chenault Green. I haven't worked with Deborah yet.
Yeah.
In terms of me directing, I've been on set with Deb, but I've never
Yeah.
worked with her, and she always has kind of things to say about me, and she's the sweetest lady ever. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
she's
And
definitely
and
on the
and
list.
here's my deal. When you ask me that question,
I'll give you 3 honorable mentions if you want them.
man, three honorables gonna like again, man. This was the first time that I was able to work with Zakia, and I really enjoyed what she brought to the table. All right.
That kid is incredible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed what she brought to the table. I just enjoyed, watching her performance. Um, I also Rico. It was my first time working with him, and I'm like, man, this.
Yeah, he one of them ones.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I'm like,
Yeah.
uh, and then shout out to the kid.
DJ.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, yeah.
and again, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. When I think about this thing, and I think about so many other folks, you got Ebony Tates, you know what I'm saying, that I've had I've had the opportunity to work with. She doing her thing. Kamal Hassan Diesel, he doing his thing. My other partner in crime, Marcus Woods.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't think of a time where I ain't enjoyed working with Mark. And just recently, him and I got to work on a project, and it was just like, yo, like it was that time, you know what I'm saying? And now he's doing classes, he doing his thing,
Yeah.
Again, I personally believe that our city, man, is filled with a lot of talent.
Yeah, Detroit isn't lacking acting talent at
Yeah,
all.
like
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 Detroit is packed with acting talent. I think
my mind is just it's all over. And not only acting talent, screw that. Detroit is packed with creatives all over the place. Like right now, right? Jazar.
yeah, Jazar's incredible. Yeah,
She's a
yeah,
creative.
yeah.
I
Jazar,
mean, you understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
You
she's a
you get
Jazar is different. Yeah, she different.
okay. You got so much young talent coming through the game. Jesse Boyd Williams. He actually.
Bro,
I did something with him years ago, and then come back now. He a big guy. He was younger then, but now I just saw him recently in the stage. But brother did his thing.
he's truly
I mean,
incredible.
you understand what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah.
so many folks. Listen, the show I just went and saw being the other day, Brian Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, man, Brian has a knack for tapping into his emotions, and he does it fast. He does it fast. And listen, from meeting Brian to seeing him in his performances. And listen, if you haven't went to see any shows at the Tipping Point, Purple Rose, Detroit Public Theater, you gotta go to. I suggest this to any writer, producer, actor out there. Go see some of these live shows.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
you just have to. You know what I'm saying? But even in this show that I just saw him in, Halftime with Don, killed it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And he was pumped, you know. And afterwards, we all went out to dinner. There's a lot of actors that were there, a lot of new talent, you know, Ayla, you know, she really been, you know, just hungry. Folks that's like, hey, listen, I want this, and what we gotta do to make this happen. And then you got a lot of the vets that's been in this game that's still evolving, you know, as actors and actresses, you know, Nunu Thurman, freaking A Red. It's so
He
many
he
people,
figured
man.
out a way to get to name everybody.
Listen, and I'm gonna say this because I want to be real clear. Like, when I see people, man, that's this business is not easy, and
Mhm.
it's a lot of people in this business that you meet that you know, some people have, you know, good energy and they wanna push this to, you know what I'm saying, the limit. And then you got some people that do this because they want to be popular.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not knocking anybody, you know, you can whatever your intention is, you know, is or direction you want to take in this business, but I will admit to you, I really look forward to working with the people that really take this business serious. I'm sorry, and I'll be remiss if I don't mention my homeboy Des Cortez. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Listen, and again, I've worked with so many people who's just like, oh, wait a minute, Des been doing this thing for so long, dude, and Des is one of those type of people. I feel like a lot of actors always like to say stuff like, yo, I want to show my range. I want to show my range. How about you just be good at what you good at?
I mean, if we naming people, we gotta go Tristan, Eastside, you know what I'm saying? Tristan
Yeah.
Fazikis.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Gotta shout out to homie Mina Monroe, you know, film producer, writer, she do all the shit. Mina crazy, but I love her, you know what I'm saying? That's the homie. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
So I mean, look, Detroit is definitely packed with
Talent.
talent. Like, yeah, like it's like, and I honestly I would say too, that's probably why I think some of the productions sort of lack
Mm-hmm.
sometimes because it is so much talent.
Mm-hmm.
So you can just kind of get away with doing some bullshit because even if some people don't want to work with you, it's so many good actors here that you can just get, you can always figure out, how to get somebody. But yeah, man, Detroit, I always say this, man, and I've been told this from people who've been to other places as well. Like Detroit has some of the best talent, especially black talent, for sure.
Bro, that and cats that really, really, really dig into this thing here. And
Hmm.
again, that's when you asked me that question, the first thing that came to my mind was, which is why I kind of preface what I said. I look at this thing as a privilege, and I also
Yeah,
look at, without going down this rabbit hole, I really believe that to act is to be of service. Like, we are showing people parts of their lives that, you know, and we don't know how this impacts people. You
facts.
understand what I'm saying? This is a form of art, but it's also service, and it's a privilege. I don't get mad when I don't get roles. It's certain things, because certain things not for me. I look at it as a privilege when I get the opportunity, and
Hmm.
because I go at it like that, and I'm big on casting.
Yeah, I would
You
say.
know what I'm saying?
Let me.
I think that's one part about me that people don't know. Like, listen, there's been some times where I fought for certain actors, or I'm like, yo, we need to get this person a chance because I see something.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? And I think that's the beauty of this thing. It's just like, yo, like, some people be so hard pressed about doing 100 projects. It's like, no, why don't you do the right project?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm kind of big on casting, and in our city, man, you could go down the list of people that you know what I'm saying that are really pushing this thing forward. If I had to say something that I would like to see change, is definitely the way we tell our stories.
Yeah, for sure.
I really want us to step our game up with that s- because once that happens, now that opens up the door for a lot of the actors to stretch
Ascend.
themselves. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And now we gonna kind of move the pipeline forward a little bit, outside of, us telling stories from this experience that many of us we're well aware of, but there's so many other things outside of these certain things that we're tending to kind of stick to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like yeah, no, I agree. I agree totally. I think it definitely needs to be a little bit more variety in the not just the actual stories that are being told, but like you said, the way that we're telling the stories, the aesthetics. But I think that this is an issue industry wide, to be
It
honest,
is. It is.
where like people are essentially just copying one another just to try to make something that fits.
Like,
You
not
know what I'm
being funny.
saying?
We talking about this, and I literally just thought of three Sierras. That's all. Take your pick. You got
Hmm.
Sierra Armani, Sierra Angelina, and you got Sierra Michelle.
Yeah,
D- Three actresses, three totally different looks, three that's really
and different skill sets as well.
listen
Yeah,
and
different approaches.
and love this.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying, and are willing to put that work in.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And I've seen all three of them get it in. I listen, man. I think the film industry here, it speaks to being I like to me this is what I'm most proud of in terms of being a Detroiter. You
hmm,
got to think back, bro, when the film industry first showed up here and everybody was talking about the incentives. When the incentives went out the door, you heard people say, "Oh man, they took this away from us." No, they didn't take shit away from us. You get what I'm saying? And now you having it where you got a lot of people feeling as though they could jump in this business and throw some money at it. That shit never works. But I'm saying this to say that there was a fraction of us that decided to say, "Hey, wait a minute, we still gonna create."
hmm,
And yeah, this might have been crappy, and people might have been talking crap about it, but guess what? We gonna keep going, and we gonna keep trying to get better and better
hmm,
and better. And that's what I love about our city. I feel like it speaks to the resilience of being a Detroiter. Like, yo, we just gonna keep moving. We gonna
hmm.
put pressure on you folk out there, and we don't need the validation of, hey, you guys need to do it this way. The thing now that I see, or like I say, I want to see is let's get better. Let's get better at our storytelling. Let's get better at our production. Let's make it to where people are knocking on our door saying, "Hey, how can I be a part of this?"
Yeah, yeah, for
When we
sure.
get to that point, that's a place where it's just like, "Oh no,
Hmm.
no, 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 no." You know, you will know that folks are starting to take us more serious. You
Yeah,
got some folks that's out here messing it up because they don't take this shit serious and they just trying to look for a money grab and they opportunists.
yeah,
And let's face it, a lot of people like to say that there's a lot of hustlers here in our city, and you got
yeah,
just as many in the film industry too. Folks trying to hustle and just come up off of, oh man, I think I can make a quick buck off of putting my own movie out. No,
hmm,
no, 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 no. It's a lot more involved in this stuff. And when them type of people get in the game, they kind of mess it up for certain people.
yeah,
But again, I'm thankful that I've had the opportunity, man, to not only work with a lot of talented actors, but just even see a lot of them come up and just do their own thing. And,
yeah,
it's just been a beautiful thing to see.
yeah. I would say, man, to any actor, if you're not getting the roles you want, just write the role you want and make it. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's like a short film or something like that. And then I would also say too, because people hit me up all the time, be like, Zach, when you gonna cast me? Like you be like, I think people think like I'm like an asshole or something, like because I just be low key. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like nah, like I really write roles specifically
Mm-hmm.
for people. Like so, I have to find
Mm-hmm.
the right role for you
Yeah,
for it
nothing
to work.
personal.
It's
Yeah.
nothing personal. It's just like I gotta find the right role for a person for it to work. But nah, man, I definitely think that like you said, this is a privilege. We get to play make believe, for a living,
Mm-hmm.
which is, man, like how many, you know what I'm saying? That's
Mm-hmm.
what we dream about doing as kids, bro. Like, you know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
And tell our stories through our
Yeah, and
perspective.
tell it through our
That's important.
perspective. Yeah, and go and make like I would have never like literally Heaven is a film that I would want to see, and I get to make it. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
don't even see characters like me on screen, like with like people like with the intellectual, like because to me, I would assume that me is like a very high IQ person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So to be able to like write a character like that and have him on screen and see him on screen and say that we made it, you know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Listen, I say
For the
that all
amount
the
of money we
I
made it for.
listen, I say that all the time, man. I enjoy seeing myself on screen, not for the ego part of it, but growing up,
Mhm.
I could barely recall guys that look like me.
And
Don
it,
Snipes, you get what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like in nothing,
yeah.
and if they did, you know,
There's usually
being a light skinned
womanizers.
dude in films was all about you a womanizer, you a sucker, you the punk, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's see those stories. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And let's see those stories with guys that look like me. And that's something I've been kind of passionate about because I sometimes I pull up on people and I'm like, yo, can you name 10 light skinned actors that are like top of the food
Yeah,
chain?
household names, yeah.
They get about two and draw a blank. And I'll never forget I had a conversation with Reginald Ballard, bruh man.
Mm-hmm.
And um he don't even know what he did for me, but I'm sitting in the green room doing a stage play one time that I'm directing and I'm in it and I'm talking to him and he's like, yo, he's like, I asked him about that. I'm like, yo, why most of the time, Hollywood only casting this type of black dude?
Mm-hmm.
And he sat there for a minute and he shared with me his story, his journey with being on Martin and you know what I'm saying, his rise to popularity on the show. And I don't know if people know this, eventually he was just coming on being, having guest appearances on there. But people love to see Bro Man when he came on,
Mm-hmm.
But to sum it all up, in the midst of our conversation, he paused for a minute and he looked at me and he was like, I don't know, but shoot, maybe you do it. You know what I'm saying? And like he don't even know like that was empowering to me because again, do you sit around in life and you wait for opportunities or do you create them?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that anybody that is a creator, that to me turns something more than just using our imagination. It makes it spiritual to me
Mm-hmm.
from that standpoint because now we're talking about when you create from a place of inspiration, being in spirit. When you create from a place of faith. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Meaning here it is, something that maybe you have a vision for, but it's not seen in the material in the physical world. That turned this into a whole nother thing. Don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but that's how much this stuff means to me. It's deeper than, oh, Don, you get to act, oh, you get to create. No, like using your imagination, being inspired, not just motivated. Because I tell people all the time, like when you just motivated, motivation will get you up out the bed, but inspiration is the thing that's gonna really take you to your next level. Like it's not enough to just be motivated. You got to find something that's going to inspire you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that's going to pull you to this thing. That's the thing that when you're not making no money, you're going to be like, no, I'm going to still do this. That's the thing where maybe it's not making sense. And you like, man, I don't have the answer for this. but I'm gonna figure it out. And you
Mhm.
stay on that shit. Finding a way to find something that inspires you, that's where you're gonna find your most fulfillment. Or at least that's how it's been for me.
Mhm.
And being able to surround yourself with people that kind of align with that. Hence my relationship with you. You know, I know that you're serious about your creating. You're creating with a lot of cats don't know. You do your thing with the music. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? And poetry. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And I remember listening to Michael Jackson one day. Somebody asked him a question about singing and writing and music, and he was like, oh, it's the same thing. You know, it's just different forms of energy that's come out. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
nah, it is.
But
It
I'm
all
just
come from the
yeah.
same place.
Yeah, I'm listening to him. I'm like,
It's almost like different. It comes from the same place. It's almost just different languages,
yeah, and I'm
essentially.
just like, man, you know what? I can relate
Yeah,
to that.
different
You get what I'm
modalities.
saying? Because people ask me all the time, which one do you like better, film or stage, this and that? Again, they both have things that I enjoy. They both have things that are challenging to them, but they come from the same place, so it just feels good. You get what I'm saying? And to be able to not only tap into some of your gifts,
Mhm.
but to use them in a way that suits and feels good to you. What more can I ask for, man? You get what I'm saying? And
That's a
that, and,
fact.
and that shit, that shit is what wake me up. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So
No, that's a fact. That's a fact, man. Well, I mean, we've been talking for a minute.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Me and Snipes could do this all the time. So hey, we just got a camera on. This is like one of me and Snipes FaceTime
Yeah,
convos.
I know, right? Right, right,
Nah,
right,
but
right.
nah, man. Nah, man. It's been a pleasure. Continuing the journey with you. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think when I started the pod, I wanted to like interview people who I really work with first. You know what I'm saying? Because I think y'all are the foundation of like who I have become as a filmmaker. You know what I'm saying? I know specifically, I can speak specifically to you in that, like, again, like I said earlier, like seeing you work with directors and things like that. Like, I didn't really know how to direct prior to that, in terms of working with talent and things of that nature. So, and of course, I feel like, we've made my best work together, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And gonna continue. And I feel like we outdo it every time. Like, so that's like the ill part about it as well. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So the goal is just to keep doing it and yeah, and keep getting these joints off the ground. But again, I think you the illest, bro.
I
You know what
appreciate
I'm
you, man.
saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Love you, nigga.
likewise.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And we just gonna keep it going. You got anything you wanna end it with?
Um, man, if I could say anything just from a personal standpoint,
Mhm.
I've I've learned so much about myself doing this thing that, um, whatever it is you want to call it, acting, writing, directing, like it's been a beautiful journey. I've learned about myself. I've evolved from it. Um, I enjoy getting the opportunity to work with like-minded people. People always ask me, "Yo, who you want to work with?" I want to work with who want to work with me.
Facts.
This is it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to. I want to work with who want to work with me. And
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that to say anybody, but I'm just saying like there's a
Yeah.
certain type of person that's going to align with things that I deem important, and when we cross paths, we're going to make it happen. But I say all that to say that the more I do this, the more I learn about how important it is to just tap into being authentic. And
Mhm.
even from a personal standpoint right now, that's the journey I'm on. To all the men out there, all the, male actors out there, um, we got to start allowing ourselves to open up and feel life because, we're able to bring more to our characters and things on the screen the more we allow ourselves to feel. I learned recently, the things that we don't allow ourselves to feel are the things that never heal.
Mhm.
So some guys think that, you know, acting is all about yelling and cussing and fussing. No, if you want to be able to tap into those moments, you actually gotta allow your body to experience that in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you want to really get into this thing, if I could offer any advice, allow yourself to feel love, forgiveness, heartbreak, sadness. Like, allow yourself to see what it feels like, or the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to feel your fucking emotions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's something even I've been working on, because it's like, when you do, you see the world through a totally different lens. And I think that's what this thing has done for me. It said, when I've needed to challenge myself, or when I've sat down and thought about it, I'm like, yo, what do I need to do to get better? And from a personal standpoint, it's always been one thing, like, what is going on in my personal life, and how can I use that and draw from that experience to connect to whatever it is I'm trying to convey to the audience? And have I even allowed myself to feel that, so that it comes across as genuine?
Mm-hmm.
Any motherfucker can get mad, but are you mad because you embarrassed? Are you mad because you feel like a piece of shit? Are you angry because, you know, you really screwed up, or you screwed over somebody that you really love? What do that really feel like? And if we don't allow ourselves to actually experience that, we're not gonna bring that to the camera.